What's up people, Dazzles here, and today's video is about a decade in the making now, so let's get started. Today I'm going to be talking about the complete Morgaine, the Morgaine cycle, or the Morgaine Chronicles, depending on which particular iteration you happen to have come across. I'm also not sure whether it's Morgan or Morgaine. I think it really just depends on how you initially read it. I'm not good at reading things with the correct pronunciation, so I went with Morgaine, and that's how it stuck for the most part. Why am I saying that, this is the video 10 years in the making? Well, let's talk about that just quickly. When I first moved out of home, I lived with a whole bunch of other uni students who I was friends with, and I was laying there looking at the bookshelf near where my bed mattress thing on the floor was. It's a story. It was next to a bookshelf, and I was looking at the bookshelf and I was like, that looks like an interesting book, and it was the Morgaine saga, I think it was. And I was like, hey, who owns this? And I asked the person who owned it, I'm like, hey, do you mind if I read this? And she was like, go ahead, enjoy. So I picked it up and read through the first 3 books in the series, and was a little happy with how it ended, a little disappointed that it never really culminated with the end of the series, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. So about a year and a bit ago, I decided that I would have a look and try and remember what this book was all about, and I went through and found it, and while having a look around, I discovered that there was a book 4, Exile's Gate, and I was like, ooh, I haven't read this. So naturally, I went to the trouble of picking it up and then reread through the entire series, because, well, you can't a decade on just read the last book, because you're not going to remember what on earth it's about. So on to talking about the book. The Morgaine saga is a fantasy story. It's technically a sci-fi, if you know more about the universe that it's actually set in. There's a whole bunch of other books set in the same universe, but Morgaine saga is pretty separate to that. But yeah, it's told from the perspective of not the character the story is about. One of the interesting things about this story is that the main character is a strong female character, which is fantastic. It's what I like in all of the books that I read, or at least as many as I can. But the interesting thing is the story isn't actually told from her perspective, so we're never entirely across what's going on throughout the book. We have to kind of put things together and work out what information is true, what's false, what's the truth told in the wrong way. Because once more, going back to that whole thing, this is a sci-fi book told from the perspective of a character who thinks it's all magic. And I love this. There's this whole thing, Morgan's got weapons that the main character doesn't understand and doesn't know how to describe. That if you were reading any of this from Morgaine's point of view, you would know, oh, that's a laser pistol, or the gates do whatever thing with the voids and however they work. And what I really enjoy is that it gives so much depth that you don't really understand what's going on, because you've only got these points of views from a specific, superstitious, for lack of a better term, character. I do thoroughly love this series, and it was so good reading through it again, but getting through to the end, oh my god, I was on a flight back and it reduced me to tears. I'm still not okay. I mean, great ending to the stories, I guess, but there's so many questions I have and so much more I really want to know. I just wish that there was a 5th book, but there's not, and drives me a little bit sad. I wish there was. Morgaine herself is a fantastic and really strong character, and the mystery behind her that is not perpetuated necessarily by her for the most part, but by the character who we're viewing the story from, their perspective, because they don't want to know, because they consider all of this demonic or witchcraft or evil magic, so they don't want to really go to the trouble of understanding these technologies. And you experience through Vanya's point of view as he kind of is forced to learn more because of, well, decisions both he and Morgan make. This is a series of novels that are probably forever going to be on my highly recommended list, and I'm personally going to be holding on to my copy because I know it's one that I'm going to want to read again and again in the future. If you've read anything from the Morgaine saga or anything by CJ Cherryh, I would love to hear about it, either on Twitter @Dazzles or down in the comments below. That's going to be all from me today, and I will be back next week where I think I've got a story to tell. So I'll see you all later. Bye!